welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Tina Avery. Thank you so much for joining me today. So we have, I'm going to call her a regular now. She's been on the show a few times. We have Michelle Fisher's joining us from the Dufferin Community Foundation, and then we have a new person as well. So Victor, also from Dufferin Community Foundation, thank you both so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having us, Tina. We always love coming on your show.
And I mean, I love what the foundation does. I love, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I think that's where we're actually going to start, because if somebody's tuning in that maybe hasn't caught you on the show before, Michelle, I want to talk about what the Dufferin Community Foundation is and what you do. And then we'll find out about some exciting things that are coming up.
Okay. Well, in a nutshell, we like to call the Dufferin Foundation the Forever Fund for Dufferin County. So we're very local, and what happens is when somebody gives us a gift, we invest it into a permanent fund, and we use the annual interest and income from the fund to give grants to local charities. So the principle, for the most part, remains untouched, and that means that when people give to us, literally their gift goes on forever.
Amazing. Yep. That is absolutely amazing. And I know some of the organizations that you've been supporting. I mean, all of them are very worthwhile organizations and a central part of Dufferin County itself and the services that they provide. Yeah,
so over the last 6 years, we've given out, including federal government funding, we've given out about $600,000 to local charities.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
It feels good to be able to make a difference.
It does. I mean, having a job where you're constantly giving back to the community has to be so fulfilling.
Yes.
Like, it has to just fill your heart and then so much more. Yeah, absolutely. And we live in an amazing community, and I say this almost every show, and I sound like I'm repeating myself, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's something to be repetitive about, is how great our community actually is.
Absolutely. We live in a very generous and caring community.
Yeah, absolutely. Victor, I want you to tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, what I've been brought in to do is help kind of grow the brand of Dufferin Community Foundation and get it out there to maybe some new donors that we haven't seen before, and kind of broaden the horizons and get fresh people donating, helping, giving. So that's kind of an exciting piece, right? So kind of understanding avenues to kind of get out there to the public and get our brand known. There's a lot of people out there that maybe don't know us, to your point, the beginning, top of the segment. So so that's a big piece of it, is to figure out, okay, so how do we get better known in the community? How do we do that? And one of those things is coming from an exciting place right now is a special event coming up called Giving Tuesday, which will happen on Tuesday, December the 3rd. So we're really leaning into that. It's the first time that the DCF has participated in this, and we're really excited about it because it really lines up so well with what we're doing in the community. We come from a place of giving, right? It doesn't have to be monetary. It can be from a place of giving your time, a place from giving, physical objects. You can donate in different ways. So this Giving Tuesday really leans into that, and so we're going to look at that as kind of being a jump off point to put a spotlight on all the partners that we work with in the community, and really kind of showcase how many nonprofits and how many great charities there are. And if you don't know how to give, there's so many different ways to give, and you can contact us. We can help you with that.
Absolutely. So, Giving Tuesday, I'm actually very familiar with it, as I've worked with a nonprofit organization that actually used to do that and would go and promote Giving Tuesday, like you want it, and it's a way to go online on that specific day. That information is going to come up on the screen for you, but to go in and donate for all these not-for-profits, and then you can kind of learn a little bit more about all the different organizations that are kind of listed there, and you can go in and donate that particular day. On their website, and it's a Canadian website itself.
Exactly, absolutely. And what a better way to kick off the holiday season, right, with a Giving Tuesday, right? Because the holiday season is all about giving, right? And so just to kind of bring all that together and to drive that through that holiday season, people need so much right now. We're in a pretty tough time, right? Economy-wise, prices, just groceries is a tough thing. So really, just being able to really push that and give back to the community is so important.
Absolutely, and there are many people out there that don't have the ability to give. And what I always stress, and what is always really, really important, is there's ways to give your time, as you mentioned, but there's also ways to share information. So you may not be able to give something on Giving Tuesday or for the next little while, depending on your individual circumstances, whatever the reason be. But there's ways that you can share. You can create awareness. You can give your time if you can, and that is equally as important as donating money.
Well
Absolutely.
said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's. So Giving Tuesday. I mean, and is there anything specific what would you tell people about going out and finding out information about how to give? Because there are so many worthwhile organizations. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I know that there are funds coming in and you're able to give to many different organizations. But for someone like me who may be only able to give to one, how do you possibly choose which one to give to?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, big thing is I think you heard Michelle say this too, is the Dufferin Community Foundation, we support so many, of, if not all, of the not-for-profits and charities in Dufferin, right, in our county. So we're a good spot to stop. So look at us. We can educate, we can help. You can go to our website. We can, it lists all of our great partners that we work with and help and provide grants to as well. So. So, if you don't know where to look and how to choose, we have different funds too that you can actually put your money towards.
Right.
So we're going to be campaigning over the next little bit. 2 weeks out is going to be a big push for us up to December 3rd. And we're going to have actually a really great spot in the Orangeville Citizen as well. We've been nicely donated an ad space right on the front, so the leaf that covers the front of the paper. McMaster, Buick, and GMC so nicely. Great shout out to them for donating that ad for us to utilize, and we're going to highlight Giving Tuesday and all the folks that we actually partner with in the community too, and not-for-profits and charities. So you can, we're going to get out there and let people know and give more and more information as we approach.
Well, that's what it's all about. We've all, I think all three of us have said it tonight. It's all about creating awareness. Right? So
Absolutely.
And there's so many different ways you can do that. And Giving Tuesday is something. It's probably new to a lot of people that may be tuning in on the show that may not have heard about it before. So I'm so glad that you're here to talk about it. Michelle, I want to ask you about what's going on and what's new since the last time you've been here with the foundation.
Well, one thing that I'm really pleased to announce is that we've started a new fund, the Children and Youth Fund.
Okay.
And we had some donors who had a real interest in giving in this area to support services for children, opportunities for youth. So we created that this year. And we're hoping to get to $25,000 invested in this fund just as an initial base, and that will put it at granting status for 2026.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's something. And then we're just in the midst of doing our fall grants. We're giving out 4 arts and culture grants and 1 environment fund grant. And I can't reveal who is going to get it yet because it still needs to be ratified by our board. But perhaps on a future show, we could talk about that and the amazing projects, the amazing arts and culture projects, and the very interesting environmental project that we're going to be funding this year.
Well, that sounds definitely very exciting. And when we're talking about arts and culture and everything, and I mean, this community is so rich with the amount of artists and I don't know any other community that has one like ours where there's everything from painters to theater to crafters to I can't even there's just so many of them, and I think we're surrounded by it. So
I agree. I think our geography is inspirational, and the fact that we're such a caring community and a nurturing community, and we really support our local artists.
Absolutely. And then on the environmental side too, that's always something that's very important. And I think, over the years, I'm going to say back in the day, it was horrible. Like I was going to age myself tremendously there. Like back in the day, I mean, you didn't really hear about things that were happening in the environment and things that have to be done and different projects that have to be done. And now we look back at it and go, oh, maybe we should have paid more attention back in the day. I said it twice, back in the day. But we should have paid more attention now. But what environmental groups and things and projects that are happening are so important to us moving forward.
Yeah, we rely very much on our natural environment in Dufferin County. You know, we go out, we enjoy it all the time. The hiking, the trails, getting out onto the water, the fresh air that we breathe. And the truth is that, you know, climate change is going to create a lot of different changes in our area and, of course, all around the world. And so how do we prepare for that? Well, you know, our environment fund, giving to our environment fund, makes sure that we can have something there for the next generation and the one after that. So the brilliant minds that are trying to figure things out for their generation will have the resources to do so.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of us that just take certain things for granted. You know, like, I mean, when you think, you just take for granted that you can go outside and walk by the lake or go and do these types of things. Like, I think and part of this creating awareness is to make us realize that things that we easily can go out and see may not be there for the future. And as you said, you're providing for the future, which is what.
Absolutely, and we can't know what the future is. So that's where a Forever Fund really comes in handy.
That is, I mean, I always say it when you come on about how amazed I am and how amazing I think this whole fund is and how the actual process of it works with regards to just giving forever, like just.
Yeah, it's going to have a huge impact on our community over time. When you take a look at community foundations that started 50 years ago, 70 years ago, the projects that they're able to invest in, the impact that they're able to have in communities is really quite phenomenal, and we're going to be there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very lasting and very solid foundation for sure. Which I know. I keep saying it's an amazing thing, and it really does impress on me. And I think anybody who might be watching about thinking about the future, because we don't always do that, right? Just as we've been talking about. So, Victor, tell me a little bit more. I mean, you've just started with the foundation not that long ago.
Yes, yeah, September I believe was the first meeting. So we're pretty fresh.
Yes, absolutely,
absolutely.
And your take on the entire what would you say to people why it's so important?
I would tell people it's so important. I think we've said it, you know, again, this Forever Fund, you know, we make jokes about, well, what does forever mean? And it truly means that your dollars just move through into the future. It's not a one and done game. You're not just investing in now. Your dollars are actually speaking to generations ahead. So that's powerful.
It is.
And you can really, you know, from a large scale donation, you can direct those dollars into the areas that you feel is an important space for your dollars to talk to, right, to that future. So if you're interested in the arts, and the arts are what fuels, and you see that as a need, you can put your dollars into that. The environment, what we're talking about, huge piece. Really invest into that, into the future. So it's not just today. You're not just fixing for today. You're leaving dollars for the future to, you know, future generations to take that and move forward. So for me, not knowing when I, you know, heard about this foundation, learning that is a huge piece and such a massive takeaway. Just that your dollars just speak and move forward. They don't just talk today. You have, you know, they're saved for future use, which is amazing.
Absolutely. I want to thank you both for joining me today and sharing all this amazing information.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
And I'm sure you're going to come back soon.
It's amazing.
Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we're back on screen, so for...
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
They've reached the summit!
Back-to-back Stanley Cup victories.
Greatness.
And a new legacy begins!
Absolutely amazing.
It has happened in Vegas.
Is not a destination.
And lightning has struck twice.
It is a continuous journey that never ends.
These are the moments you dream of.
Stanley Cup champions.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to RogersTV.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at RogersTV.com.
Welcome back to Dufferin Life. Thank you for hanging with us, and if you're just tuning in, as always, you're tuning in at a great time. So we have a new guest who's never been on the show before, and it's very exciting because we're going to be talking about Christmas. You know, I love Christmas, and I love everything to do with Christmas, and coming up very, very soon is a Norm Foster production. Before I get too far ahead of myself, let me introduce my guest, Michelle. Michelle is the president of the Blackhorse Village Players.
Yep.
There we go. We were just talking about how I can get tongue-tied sometimes, and sure enough, there I did. But Michelle, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us. It's a wonderful opportunity.
Well, let's start talking about the organization itself before we get into what I have already alluded to as a beautiful Norm Foster Christmas play. Let's talk about the Blackhorse Village.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Blackhorse started in 1971.
Wow.
So we are a not-for-profit charitable organization that is fully run by volunteers.
Okay.
So it's the passion that keeps it going, and it's a matter of community. We're community theater, so it's an opportunity for us to bring people into live theater and off of streaming and see what it's all about, as well as become volunteers.
Right.
So it was started by a small group of people that were basically Torontonians that came up to the Tottenham area and started doing this out of the Legion of all places.
Okay.
And then I believe it was the early 80s, we bought the place that we're at right now. So it's at the corner of Mount Wolf Road and Highway 9.
Okay.
So yeah, we corner Caledon, New Tecumseh, and King. So we border those three communities, which is awesome. And then of course we have such far reach with the people in Dufferin as well as Caledon and Simcoe. So it's people know or should know about Blackhorse Village Players.
Absolutely. 53 years, people. If you don't know, then you're learning right now. So make sure you're paying close attention because we want to make sure that, you know, that you have that opportunity to go out and see such a wonderful play. And I mean, there's other ones that come out, but we're coming into the Christmas season.
Yes, we are.
The holiday season. It's so hard to believe. It came by so fast.
So quickly.
Yeah. But A Snow White Christmas is written by Norm Foster. So let's talk a little bit about the production and maybe that it's not exactly a story about Snow White.
Well, as we all know, Snow White was laying, sleeping, and then Prince Charming came around through the forest on his steed, found this beautiful woman, and kissed her. And she awoke, and they fell in love, and the prince took her to his castle. They got married and lived happily ever after. So this tale takes us on after. So it is a family-friendly Christmas show, but I will tell you that it's almost like a Shrek thing. So it's got a lot of adult comedy,
right?
But it is not. There aren't any inappropriate or things like that going on. So it'll be great for the kids. We say at the age 8+, as well as adults,
right?
You know, because we love to laugh, and there is some music in it, so it is a musical comedy, if you will. And thankfully, Norm Foster has created something that's for all ages.
Yes, absolutely. With a twist that we're not going to talk about. We're going to leave that as a surprise for you to go out and see it, but I do highly recommend it. I'm very familiar with the play itself, so
wonderful.
Yeah, so it's definitely something to see. So let's talk about doing a community production production of a Norm Foster play, you know, and to have music in it, it has to be, it's how long, like how long does it take to go from beginning point until we're hopping on stage?
You know, with a musical, it takes longer. This isn't a full-blown musical, if you will, so it's not, you're going to be hearing songs over and over and over again. It's not like that. There's musical aspects to it. Because there are young ones involved. So,
Yes.
you know, we've got and it's Christmas.
Yes.
So, to put on a regular show, generally we have 8 weeks.
Okay.
With this, we added more. I believe we gave them 12 weeks to do from the audition process through the readings and being on stage and blocking things.
Yes.
So it's been a great run so far with all the rehearsals, and we've added some new talent to our roster, which is great. It's always good to have new people because we have talents. We all have talents, and it's just a matter of sharing your talent. And why not do that through community theater?
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And you know what? I do find it fascinating. I mean, I've always loved the thought of being on stage. You never would have guessed that about me, right? But I'm not an actor. But I'm talking about community theater. So if somebody's watching and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I'd really love to do something like that, how do they get involved?
It's so simple. You just go to our website and give us a note, and we will let you know when we're having auditions. If you love to sew and want to do some creative work for costuming, things like that. If you're a great painter, just a matter of painting a wall one color, that's fine. You know, whatever your talent is or your talent that you would like to hone, we're there to assist you, mentor you, and get you in the door. You do not have to be a professional. You don't have to have any experience. We're there to help you. What we see in community theater is it's a way for you to get out of your shell, meet some new people, learn great talents, and have fun doing it. You know, it's without the people, there's no community theater, right? So it's a matter of the community makes the community theater work.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've talked about this before on the show, that if you've never been out to theater, if you've never been to a theater, the experience is something like you've never had before.
Absolutely.
You know, the audience feeds off the actors feed off the audience, and there's almost like an elation when you leave.
Absolutely. You've been transfixed to a different area, a different era, you know, different time, different place. You're feeling different things. And sometimes it makes you leave thinking, and which is a great thing because we've done something right.
Yes.
You know, if you've left thinking and talking about your experience, we've done our job. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for people to get away from the screens and see what live theater is all about.
Yes.
And no, we don't have any prompters.
We don't have any of those here either, which is why, you know, sometimes I stumble. No, just joking. But I mean, that is part of it too. Like I think that we talk about, you know, feeding off of each other and the experience, and it brings you to a whole different place. And then when you leave, you know, I mean, some plays you see they're thought-provoking, as you mentioned. Some plays you see are just filled with joy, and you leave feeling elated. It gives you that opportunity to put aside everything that's going on in your life and to experience and partake in something magical.
Yeah, in that moment. You're experiencing it in the moment with the actors on stage. So yeah, it's great. I've been blessed to be a part of this company.
Well, how long have you been a part of the company?
Well, you never know by my age. I started as a patron. I believe the first show that I ever saw was when I was in Girl Guides, and that was many, many years ago. But getting on stage was in 2000.
Okay.
So it's been 24 years that I've been on stage, backstage, lighting, directing, or co-directing, producing, you name it, I've probably done it.
Well, that's amazing. So you know everything that goes on.
Well, I should.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's amazing that in a community theater, it is what it is. It's community.
Yes.
But you have that opportunity to not just hone skills you might think you have, but maybe try something that you haven't tried before. That when you actually see it in progress, it just sparks something.
Oh, absolutely. And that's when I was brought in to be assistant director on one of the shows. And I thought, are you kidding me? No. But working with the director at the time was so amazing because we were able to work together and see things grow, you know? So would I be a director? I don't think so. I'm not at that point yet, but I love theater. I love for the opportunity to see the young ones come in and go from just, you know, doing props and things like that to actually stage managing. You know, we've had so many people come through our doors that are actually now professionals. Like we had one just recently. They're at, oh my goodness, and I always forget.
That's always the way that it happens.
Not Shaw, but it's the other one.
It's okay.
Yeah. So, and she is a professional stage manager.
Right.
And just was like, okay, maybe I'll help out. And that's where it took her.
I know. I mean, if you're feeling that creative something or other and you're not quite sure where to do it, maybe theater is for you. So you definitely have to check out the Blackhorse Village Players and see what's going on. And of course, pick up your tickets to see A Snow White Christmas.
Yes.
So when we're talking about the play, we've got a couple minutes left. So we're going to talk about the play. How many actors are normally involved? Like, how many actors are in this particular play?
In this particular play, without looking at my notes, I believe there are 7. 7. With our theater, it's a smaller stage. That being said, we have put on musicals that are over 30 plus actors and actresses doing the thing, right? And that's generally with a musical. So that's where I started out. That was a musical, and there was so many of us. Yeah. But it can be, I think the smallest, we've never done a one-man show, a one-man show. We've always, minimum is 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it ranges. It just depends on what script speaks to the directors and what we can see working well on our stage.
Absolutely. Well, it's very exciting to have you here. I'm so thrilled that you were able to join us tonight and to talk about A Snow White Christmas and the theater itself. And I just get a warm, happy, fuzzy feeling just hearing you speak about it and your love for it. So I want to thank you so much for coming on here to join us.
Yes, it's wonderful. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye for now. So we're still on screen.